Hi, folks. It's Mark Smith with Family Tree Brand Life Coaches. And this past week, my wife Brenda and I have been watching Dirty John, which was a show on the Bravo network. Someone from Australia told me that it was on Netflix, but it turns out in the States it's not on Netflix. But you can get it on Apple. I think I paid like $14 for 8 downloads. But Dirty John is a true story. I believe the guy's name was John Meacham, and it was just a total and complete sociopath. Somebody capable of murder, con man, psychopath, and it went through. And as I was watching it, it just struck me at how narcissists think differently and they operate so differently from most people. That's not news to y'all folks. Y'all know that. But I wanted to break it down a little bit. So I'm calling this the Narcissist Strategic Playbook. With everybody that they deal with, they have a strategy. And people that study psychopathy understand it's almost like they're running the same playbook, even though there's male and female narcissists operating all over the world. They've all got the same playbook. So I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and we had a pretty good year this year. But at the end of the year, even though we won a playoff game, we fired the guy who was the offensive coordinator, the guy who picked the plays from the playbook, which I was happy about because they didn't run the quarterback enough, among other issues I had with them. I thought I could have maybe done better than Scott Linehan. But this is the playbook where narcissists are calling plays and using strategy. And there's 11 thoughts I want to share. The first one is there was this scene in one of the Dirty John episodes where his sister, who was trying to help him, figures out who he is, and then he said, "You'd better watch yourself because now you're my project." So narcissists, once they get offended, once their narcissistic wound has been touched upon, and they have narcissistic rage, they can make it their full-time job in life to make you miserable and to destroy your life. Who does that? I mean, we normal people, we may be mad at somebody, and we may even make a complaint about their behavior if they've done something wrong, and then we leave it and we move on. We don't make a project out of them and take up, 10 hours a day of our time seeking to destroy somebody. This character in Dirty John, the oldest daughter of this woman that he was gaslighting, she saw through him like this. There are people that you just have the ability to meet a narcissist and boom, you just know who they are. And she knew he was full of shit from the get-go. And she had a really good job. And he got on the phone and started making complaints to the company. And then he got on various websites and places like Yelp and Google where you can leave complaints, and there were so many complaints and they listed her that she lost her job. So whoever he made a project of, he had the wherewithal to destroy them. So, number one, narcissistic playbook play is make a project of somebody. Number two is they make complaints against professionals. It has never been easier in all recorded history for one person to damage your reputation. I don't know if the whole country or outside the country there's Angie's List, but locally, Angie's List is in Indianapolis. It's mainly for like carpenters and plumbers, but it also includes therapists, and people can write a review. But if like with Family Tree, we've got like 10 times more reviews than anybody else, but we've also got some negative reviews because it only takes one or two people, and all you did was piss off a narcissist is what you did. And in this case, it's like you can't just dismiss that. It's like that's in concrete. Thankfully, on YouTube, when somebody makes a comment that is ill-informed and nasty and probably written by a narcissist, all we got to do is ban them from the channel forever. It takes a matter. We're notified right away when we get a comment like that. We can have them off the channel forever within seconds. But there are places like Yelp and Better Business Bureau, and I think you can make comments on Facebook. But if somebody makes a project of you as a lawyer, as a counselor, as a dentist, as an owner of a restaurant, they can really give you a black eye. Just one human being, even though you didn't do a darn thing wrong. So there was this one scene where Dirty John was in meeting with a lawyer, and they're trying to smooth things over with the three kids by making a post-nup. The lawyer comes up with this idea of a post-nup, and Dirty John looks at the lawyer like he's going to kill him, and he just gives him this dead-eyed stare of intimidation. And then he came back that day after the meeting with the wife, and he threatened this guy, and he demanded the $25,000 retainer back, even though he had done quite a bit of work on the case. The guy said, "I want all the money back," and the lawyer knew that he was a psychopath, so he gave him all his money back. Those avenues for feedback and for complaint are made for the average citizen to express an opinion about having good service or bad service, and then it's meant to be an indicator for society of such and such a business is good or such and such is bad. But a narcissist who is making a project of you, they will make up identities, make up email addresses, and you might get 50 complaints, and it's all one person. And it can really bring damage to your business. The third thing is narcissists are very litigious. They love to go to court. A lot of them don't have money, but somehow this guy in the show, he would get a lawyer, screw somebody, and then he'd turn around and sue his lawyer for malpractice so he didn't have to pay, and then make a complaint against the lawyer's license. And this was something he had done over and over and over again. So he'd give him a little bit of money, use him, and then flip it around and not pay the attorney. But unfortunately, if you have, if a narcissist has targeted you and they sue you, you're probably going to have to get yourself a lawyer, and you're probably going to have to, have some legal bills. I was in a situation with a fella who had just a totally frivolous lawsuit. It was ridiculous, but I spent a lot of money on legal bills to deal with it, and that's just it's the cost of doing business in a lot of businesses. It's just we live in a world where there are mainly good people who are well intentioned, but a certain percent are narcissists, and a lesser percent are out and out sociopaths. And if you cross them and you become a project of theirs, they will pull out all the stops. And while you're minding your own business, living your life, they are taking you down. And then you're gonna feel pain, and you're gonna have to fight it. Sometimes you can ignore a narcissist, and that's the best strategy. And other times you have to roll up your sleeves and fight using expensive lawyers. The fourth thing in the Narcissistic Strategic Playbook is they will always build a team of flying monkeys. Okay, they're not going to go at you 1 against 10. They're going to get your support team and start working them, and they're gonna alienate you from your community. They're going to tell a bunch of lies. They're going to take their poison and put it in other people. And even though you don't know it, at a critical time when you need the community to stand up for you, they're going to be standing with the narcissist instead, because they've been worked by him or her over a period of time, and you thought you knew who your friends were, and that support system that you thought you had was cut in half. I was in a treatment center back in 2015, and when I went through my shattering, and there were 3 borderlines who were running the place. They weren't staff; they were patients. But they would take a dislike with somebody, and then they would vent and triangle like bandits. And I don't know if the treatment center knew a thing about borderlines or about triangling, or about making the community unsafe. But I stood up and fought that team and had some success doing it. But when you're fragile and you're broken and you're shattered and you're in a treatment center, you think you're in a safe place. But I got to tell you, folks, there's very few safe places. When I go into a new situation right now, I'm not paranoid, but I'm not stupid either. I got my eye open and I'm looking around going, who's who here? What, does somebody have an agenda? Is there a narcissist? Is somebody got a knife ready to stab me in the back? I don't go into a situation just hoping and believing that everybody's going to be all nicey nice, because everybody isn't all nicey nice. Sometimes there are really unsafe people hidden in the context of what should be a safe situation. The fifth thing is, in the Narcissistic Strategic Playbook, is they work really hard at their craft. There was this one scene in Dirty John where he was talking to one woman on the dating website Our Time while he was messaging another woman. He was multitasking. And I just, again, want to warn everybody off dating sites. Our time is supposed to be, older people, in their 50s and 60s, and, you think it would be safe, but you got needy people who are looking for love, and you put on your profile what you're looking for, so it tells the narcissist who to be, and they can become that, and they can eat you alive. I'll never forget my very first date with the narcissist that I was with for 6.5 years. It resulted in my shattering. When I first, she got out of her car and she was walking toward me, everything went into slow motion. It's like she was wearing this pretty green, sort of silky, see-through dress kind of thing. And it's only happened twice in my life. And one time somebody accidentally died. That was when I was fresh or 8th grader. And the second time where I had that feeling of something is in slow motion or surreal. It was like, I think, a message from God, was when she was walking toward me for the first time. And I'll never forget, I was going to her apartment for the first time, and there was this fella who she described as somebody she used to date. He was leaving and walking outside on the alley, and I was walking in, and he was just looking at me, and he had this look on his face. And I know what the look is now. The look was, you're about ready to get conned, buddy. You just drove up in your pearl white Thunderbird convertible, and this chick is looking for somebody with some substance, some money, and this is a trap, and you're a sucker. And that's another point I want to make, is you don't have to be rich to be a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. I wasn't rich. I'm not rich. I'm far from rich. But to her, at the time, I was very rich. But it never, ever, I swear to God, it never crossed my mind that I could, that this woman was in it for money. After I was already shattered and I was about a week into it, my current wife, Renda, looked at me and said, "Mark, she was in it for the money the whole time." And I said, "No, it can't be that. It can't be that. That's what it was. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was." So the next thing that narcissists do is they love to engage the services of therapists and manipulate therapists. There were 2 or 3 times during Dirty John where therapists were consulted and they totally and completely fucked it up. They couldn't recognize a narcissist. One appointment was between the older daughter and the mother and a therapist, and the older daughter was just like, "Watch out, danger, this guy's bad news." And the therapist was saying, "Oh, your mother deserves to be happy." So and I gotta confess that until 2015, when I was 55 years old, I had already been a therapist for 25 years. I had been that guy. I had been the therapist who got suckered by narcissists. I once made a list, and I made a list of my 10 most engaging and sort of favorite male clients, and I went through the list, and I realized 8 of them were narcissists. So they they look good in court and they look good in a therapy office, because therapists haven't been educated as to what's going on, and they just assume they're well-meaning, wounded, normally dysfunctional people who are treatable. They're not treatable, and they're not well-intentioned, and if you cross them, they're going to be making complaints against your license, you know. But so many therapists don't cross them because you don't know what you're dealing with. Another play from the playbook is, if you do get into a romantic relationship with a narcissist, they go way, way, way too fast. In this Dirty John first episode, they go out on a date, and he didn't want to leave the house. He went and laid in the bed, and he goes, "This is wonderful, laying in the bed." And she goes, "Dude, you got to go." And he stormed out of the house. Didn't say goodbye, didn't say he was sorry. He stormed out because he got his little narcissistic feelings hurt. Was that enough to have her figure out that this guy was trouble? That he walked up in her bedroom, laid in her bed, and then threw a fit and raged out of the house? That's on the first date, and she gets talked into a second date? I believe that was all the information she needed to have, that this guy was a nutcase. The next thing is the strategic playbook is they're brilliant liars. This narcissist, her name was Betsy, and I'd ask her something, and then she'd pause, and then she'd just blurt it out, and she actually was a terrible liar. But in my wounded little boyness, in my naivety and neediness, I believed everything she said. And if she was on a witness stand and somebody was studying whether or not she was lying, it was obvious she was lying the whole time. But you see what you want to see, and you believe what you want to believe. And this codependent woman in Dirty John just kept believing lies until finally she figured it out. So another play in the narcissist strategic playbook is they're always seeking narcissistic supply. That might come in the form of money. It might come in the form of sex. It might come in the form of attention. It might come in the form of belongings. It might come in the form of power. There's different narcissistic supply for different narcissists, but it almost always includes money. Money. And in this case, the Dirty John show, it was all about this woman had a very successful business. She was a millionaire, and he was definitely after her money. So with a narcissist who is making a project to somebody, follow the money. And then the last thing is when a narcissist get their narcissistic wounds stirred up and challenged, and they feel narcissistic rage when they might lose their supply, then they become very, very scary people. I was sharing in my video about the neighbor, one of his sources of narcissistic supply is having the best looking yard in the neighborhood, and I was about 2 feet away from his yard with something that could have caused some damage to his yard. His content in terms of what he was saying, he actually had a point. I could have damaged his yard. But it isn't about that. It's about how they communicate. So as I got close to his yard, that's when the rage came out because I was threatening the narcissistic supply. So you really should check your life and look around in your workplace, in your personal life. Certainly, if you're dating new people, be especially careful. Even people in the neighborhood, friends, acquaintances. If you know somebody like this who's constantly using social media to try to besmirch the good name of people, who are making complaints against professional, who's always suing somebody, who's building a team of flying monkeys, who's working really hard on their projects, who's manipulating and engaging therapists, who lie so brilliantly and seek narcissistic supply and then rage, who focus inordinately on money. Run, 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 run as soon as you can. I won't spoil the ending of Dirty John, but it could have just been really horrifically disastrous. With a pure psychopath, and in the series, Dirty John was taught by his father that if somebody does stand up to you and you need to get back to them, don't hurt them, hurt their family. And I don't think your general narcissist operates that way. I don't think they're quite that diabolical that they're going to go after a family member. But a sociopath, nobody's safe. Nobody is safe. They will go after and harm and even kill family members. So I hope this has been helpful in understanding how narcissists, they just think and they operate so differently from the rest of us. And you have to be very careful. There's a fine line. We don't want to be paranoid, but we don't want to be overly trusting and naive. There's a sweet spot in the middle to where you're wise and you see trouble coming and you protect yourself. If that woman, after that first date, would have never talked with him again, it never would have happened. But he knew what strings to pull to get that second date. So I hope this is helpful to you. In March, on the 8th of March, I'm going to be speaking at a conference on abandonment issues, abandonment and betrayal. There's 30 speakers, and it starts on March the 3rd. And I speak on March the 8th, and Jerry Wise, I think, speaks on the 12th. And it's a lot of really good speakers on a lot of good topics on abandonment issues. And you can go to our website, familytreecounseling.com, and right at the top you can click where it'll take you, where you can sign up for that, and it's free. So that's all good. So thank you for watching today, and stay away from trouble. God bless.